All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another and the last updated sneak peek preview for my now revised version of the Omniverse setting book for my Edge role playing game. The only thing that remains to reissue after this is my core rulebook and then making everything print ready. So, in addition to the Omniverse book, I'm also gonna preview my Secrets of the Void adventure, which is the sci-fi free one-shot available on Drive-Thru and BGE. All right, let's get right into it. So the cover page I've updated a little bit, made it a little cleaner. Um, up the resolution so it's not as clunky as it used to be. I'll just zoom in a bit here so it's a better vision of it. All right, so for those who don't know, the Omniverse is basically my sci-fi space opera sort of meets magic kind of setting. I had a nice little forward here, and all the artwork has now been updated. So I'll just blaze through this, but I'll give you an idea of what it looks like now. So I made a higher resolution version of this little picture here. And then, a bit of information how the Omniverse started, the whole timeline of events since the birth of the Omniverse all the way to its current day. And then, how things work in this setting, law and order for the different factions, entertainment, all that stuff. And then we get the races and factions. Now, these races and factions, out of all of my setting books, I'm gonna say these are the quote unquote craziest in terms of like even the standard race or what you would consider, human, are not just that. Everything is magically enhanced in some way. So we had the Sorens here, which belong to the biggest faction in the Omniverse. Obviously, the male and female versions always. I also updated some of the racial traits, so get rid of some stuff that didn't make a whole lot of sense. I added some stuff that should have been in there. So then you have the spacers, which is kind of like the quote unquote humans with black eyes and glowing tattoos. You got the Galaxians, who are kind of like the healers. And you got the Voltans, which are kind of like the intergalactic paladins. The Ancient Voidborn. Got this one to look pretty damn good. Kind of like crystalline golem space samurai, I guess you could call them. Scorchers. Living corporeal elementals. You got Yelison, who are basically just half corporeal, half ascended beings. And then the Soulless, which are robots. And then you got a Soulless here, and then you got a bunch of info how that works. Also some info on the extinct races. Because not all of them managed to make it from the previous timeline. And then you got the languages, major factions, what they stand for and all that, how big they are. I also increased the visibility here on this map because it was a very small text-wise. Now you can clearly see where everything is in terms of territories. That's a nice artwork here. Locations, a nice little warp drive thing going on here. And then all the locations of all the different planets, both in colonized and uncolonized space. And then stuff like religions. Obviously, there's a lot of these because it's a big omniverse. then we got, you know, the mythology, time and money, the omniversal calendar. And then I expanded this whole section on currency, which I felt needed expanding. There's now 3 different types of cred chips, green, blue, and red, based on their level of security. So, in addition to, of course, the biocreds that are already there. So this is just a little addition in this new version. Then all the items. And much improved artwork on these. You can see the gloves here. Hammer. Throwing star. Archery. Guns, you know, both energy guns and regular. Gunpowder-based weapons. Attachments. Explosive weapons like mines. Magical weapons. And then, you know, cartridges and stuff like that. Armors. Shields. Tools. There's a camera drone here. Our cybernetic enhancements, which I also added quite a few new ones. I added, I think, like 3 or 4. Like, I added the what was it? The liver and the lung, which were missing, and the nose. And then I also added a new unique one, but no, a utility wrist, and yeah, that's it. So I think there's like 4 new ones. Miscellaneous items. Added the new cred chips here as well into the table. Item packs, and then all the unique weapons. Of course, with the updated artworks. I haven't added anything new to this one, but I felt there's already a bunch of them. So, vehicles. I'll do the artwork on these. See the new turret pictures look very nice. The patrol car looks pretty damn cool. Spacecraft. Of course, updated artwork as usual, and I haven't changed anything much else here because I didn't feel needed changing. Of course, the unique spacecraft, and then of course the creatures. You got all the different ones. Got a nice little Yellowstone prodigy here. There was a very bad picture of this before. It was just terrible, so this one looks way cooler. Dude's a floating prodigy with glowing eyes. Looks much better, I think. Alliance veterans. Now proper artwork. Swarms. All this kind of stuff. And then my favorite out of all of these is at the end. The Void Horrors. Which again had terrible artwork. Now these look menacing, I think. Look at that mouth. Yeah, so that's that. And then of course the random encounters, as they were before, both for space and terrestrial encounters. And of course the map. So, for those of you who are not familiar with this, also this is the inverted map, if the printer-friendly one, if the black one is, you know, too hard to print because of all the ink it would take. So for anyone who isn't familiar with this, I'm going to give you a little sort of overlook of the setting. So this is the known Omniverse. I always believe in the whole, you know, puddle wide, ocean deep principle instead of the other way around. Now, don't get me wrong, this is still a big place. If you look at the scale here, see, this is 60 light years for one sector, so it's not small, but in terms of, you know, other like space genres or space maps that you've seen from like TV shows or other games, it's definitely on the smaller side. But there's plenty of stuff to do here, so you can see pretty much every sector's almost every sector's got something going on in it. There are all borders here, depending on which territory it belongs to. And of course, this is not the whole Omniverse. You know, beyond these borders is deep space, and that's uncharted space. So you can always go beyond this map and go full on Star Trek if you want. You know, go explore the final frontiers, see where it leads. And yeah, so this middle section here, the Maelstrom, is where the Omniverse is quote unquote born. It literally spawns space from this. This is where space comes. This is where space is actually formed and then expands in all directions. If you dive in here, you just die because of all the positive energy emanating from it. And then there's like crazy stuff in this setting, like, you know, the cosmic wound, which is literally a tear in space-time leading to the ether. And then you got all kinds of crazy shit in this, and pretty proud of this one because this took me the longest to create, especially all the different solar systems. You got all these solar systems here, like Magum Prime, Keris, Latoma. And anyway, this is like space meets magic, because if you're familiar with my first timeline, when magic was introduced into Gaia's setting, it rippled out in a shockwave throughout the Omniverse, and then it also magically enhanced the Omniverse. So then you have crazy anomalies like, you know, the frozen comet, which is a comet that's literally frozen in time, that's constantly just flying in place. Or the solar giant, which is basically a star that's about to go supernova, but never does, because it's like always like 5 seconds before. So it's like stuck 5 seconds before it goes supernova, producing a fuck ton of energy, and then the observatory harvests that energy. So there's crazy stuff like this. Again, a lot of stuff to do in this. So it's definitely not a hard setting. It's not a hard sci-fi setting. Unfortunately, for those of you who like hard sci-fi settings, but there is still a lot of, you know, classic technology in here. There's not everything has to be magically enhanced, but there's a lot of magical anomalies, and all kinds of goofy shit that I like, you know, making. So that's that. That is the Codex Infinitum Omniverse preview. Hope you give it a shot. It's definitely much cooler now, much more readable, much more presentable, I'd say. You know. So definitely give this a shot. It's $4, very cheap. And I will be making print on demand versions on this, as well as all of my books once I spruce up the core book, and then I'll get to making all of these print ready. So now let me show you also the Secrets of the Void one-shot, which is the sci-fi one-shot which takes place in the Omniverse, in this setting, and it's a free one-shot that you can download. So now with this one-shot, you have 3 different one-shots and the starter set, all of which is free. So you can get 4 books for free. Each one shot features each one shot is respective to one of the 3 settings of the game. So it's kind of like a little preview on how stuff works in that game, in that setting. So this is the Omniverse one shot. It's called Secrets of the Void, and I won't spoil everything here because there's a nice little twist at the end. But anyway, it's about a secret mission that the Soren Federation hires the party for, and involves infiltrating a pirate base that's built inside of an asteroid in the Forgotten Nebula, and getting information on a secret weapon that's being developed there, and then, you know, reporting back to base, and then giving you further orders on what to do with the weapon. Now, I can't tell you more than that because spoilers. I felt there's a nice twist here. There was a lot of people who, when they got to the end, were like, "Whoa!" So there's a lot of cool stuff in this. I'm pretty proud of this one. It's got a very elaborate base, and it also features a. Well, I'm not gonna tell you actually, but let's say that half of it is inside, half of it is outside potentially. Or e.g. in space. So, got nice little artwork here that I've added. I spruced up a lot of the stuff that was not written well enough. Added some stuff, removed some stuff. It's just much more readable now, much more informative. Added a whole section here as how to infiltrate as a pirate. Because that was all missing, like this extra information. And then you got, of course, all the locations. Locations array, experimental chamber. Added like stuff like little, what do you call these? Narrations. When you enter certain rooms that are, important. Added a whole section on this wildcard droid. Again, I won't tell you what this is about, but it's I just expanded this a lot. There he is. And then you got all these extra rooms here. The armory, spruced that up as well. Basically made the logs much more readable and what they're about. Then of course Desana, the AI, and then that's it. And then we have the appendices. Now, the appendices used to be located in the starter set, which in retrospect I realized it was very stupid. Because it was just cluttering up the file for no reason, and it made you reference two different books at the same time, which was stupid. So now all of these are in their respective one shots. So all the items for this one are in here. And also this was if you play the previous version of this, everyone was level 9. Now they're level 5, so I downgraded them 4 levels. So that all the one shots are now level 5 characters. I feel level 9 was a bit too much stuff for new players to play with, because they might get overwhelmed with the abilities and all that stuff. So I lowered it down to 5, and that's now the case for all the one shots. So all the different weapons here listed, all the different ships. Yeah, got spacecraft. Got all the what they got in terms of weapons and modules and all that stuff. Basic powers now in here that are used. Bionics, unique powers. The summon list, as usual. So there's a weird clicking happening here. So the Thaxin Broodling, all the creatures that are featured in this, and then the pre-made character list, of course. Spruced it up as well. Made it more readable. Tried to fit everything on 2 pages if I could. Some of the races obviously have a lot of stuff to keep in mind, like Deus is a soulless robot, so he's got, a lot of stuff to keep in mind in terms of resistances and how stuff works. But most of them are now on 2 pages. There's also, of course, the printer-friendly version of the characters that you can print, which is all in black and white, so you don't waste any printer color on these backgrounds and all that stuff. And then you got all on Brightfire. Again, everything I tried to squeeze everything on 2 pages. Like there is the exception, like Starblaze, because it's got 3 pages, or I should say 2 and a bit more than 2, because Starblaze is of course a lightning mage, so there's a bit more stuff to know about him. And Unit, I believe, is also on 3 pages, because he's a pretty complex robot. And that is that. And then you have the nice little cutout of the Omniverse to know where this is taking place. And of course, the map of the base itself, which I think is pretty cool. You have like these shafts, ventilation shafts here. So many different ways to complete this mission. So many different ways. You could, like, I've seen players do all kinds of weird stuff to complete this. Some of them, you know, actually, again, for spoiler reasons, I can't tell you what, but there's just so many different ways this can go. And that's the way I build all of my one-shots, because I want that sandbox feeling. I want, you know, players to be able to experiment with different solutions, different outcomes. So yeah, that is the Secrets of the Void one-shot, just released, and you know, get it. It's free. Why wouldn't you get it? And then stay tuned for the last update, the last reissue, which will be the Core Rules reissue. Gotta spruce up the artwork there, make some design changes, and then everything's gonna be made to be print ready, which I don't know how long that's gonna take, but hopefully not long. And that's that. Thanks everyone for checking this out. I hope you download this free one-shot along with the starter set. And, you know, maybe if you like it, if you like playing that, give the full setting book a chance. It's a fun setting, so I hope you enjoy. All right, then. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.